And we're recording. Hey, everybody, welcome to Two Over Comics, and it's our weekly review show of all things comic yumminess. So far we haven't had a title, but guess what, Mike? I think I figured out a title. I'm not going to tell you right now, though. I'm going to wait till the end of the episode because it's a doozy.
Because we want Patrick's going to join us very shortly, so we want him to be a part of that reveal.
Yeah, that's right. Oh, by the way, yeah, I'm Mike. I mean, woo! I'm Steve.
Keep it. I'm Mike. I should have said, I'm Steve, and you're Mike for this episode.
It would be the first time we mispronounce something or named something the wrong name. But like Mike said, Patrick.
When I talk about my book, so that's fine and dandy.
Well, like Mike said, Patrick's going to be joining us again. We're reviewing 5 comics today. I'm doing 2, Mike's doing 2, and Patrick's going to be doing 1. And we're going to have to wait for him to chime in before we talk about that one. But first, let's get things started, Mike. One of the comics I reviewed today was Rise of Ultraman by Kyle Higgins and Matt Groom, art by Francesco Mana. Kyle Higgins, you might know, Mike, because he did relaunched he started the Power Rangers franchise for Boom. So now he's doing another,
I knew that sounded familiar.
This is right in his wheelhouse. I mean, Power Rangers came from this kind of Super Sentai and this kind of Japanese live action giant robots fighting kaijus and bad costumes. So I mean, in Ultraman right now, Ultraman's really hard to find. As far as you can find it, but it's like finding an affordable version that doesn't cost any money is kind of hard to find on YouTube. You can find the good fights and stuff, but
at least it seems like they're doing something with Ultraman.
Yeah,
when they got the rights to Miracle Man, they did absolutely jack Scott off it instead of just reprint all the previous issues and whatnot.
I have a feeling that them buying Miracle Man was just a big fuck you to Todd McFarlane and nothing else.
Yeah.
But they got the rights to Ultraman comics, and so we're gonna review. They did a preview issue. We're gonna talk about the first full issue right now. I'm gonna break it down for you. We start off the comic with I'll talk about the art and the writers later and stuff like that. And we'll kind of get into the story right now. We start off with a blast of some test pilot in the 60s, back when the old Ultraman shows were being broadcast in Japan. The plane kind of explodes, a la Lost, broken in half, and we see this big orb with an alien head that looks very reminiscent to Ultraman, kind of speaking this alien language, and we can't understand it. And that's kind of like the intro scene to it. After that, we kind of flash forward to 2020, and we have I can read my notes right now. But we have the United Science Patrol with Cadet Kiki Fuji right now, who's getting ridden around in the car. She's going to her job right now where she just kind of graduated and stuff like that, and she meets with her commanding officer. They get a call and go out into the field to kind of investigate things. And while they're investigating this call, this kaiju comes out and what's her name? Kiki. I'll call it Kiki because he's remember Kiki's adventure or whatever it is. She jumps in, has a misfire with her gun. The kaiju's ready to kind of kill them, and all of a sudden the shot comes out of nowhere, and it's this guy Shin, who apparently Kiki has this side relationship going on with, who kind of he didn't fail out of the academy. He did really well, but didn't get promoted for some reason, which they won't say. So anyway, that happens, and then they get another call where her commanding officer actually requests both Kiki and Shin to come in to they get this call about this big sighting of this big huge orb blast, and it hasn't been seen since the 60s. I wonder what it could be. It's like the Ultraman orb, the big energy being comes out. At first they fire at it, and then Shin finally is has this breakdown, what have I done, and gets absorbed into the orb, and that's kind of where it ends up right now, where obviously Shin's going to become Ultraman. And so it's pretty straightforward, just kind of like how Power Rangers was. I'm invested because I love Ultraman. I love all those old Godzilla and Kaiju, all those type of Super Sentai like that. I'm a big fan of that stuff, so I'm in. But yeah, there's a couple of cool things they do with the writing. There's some stuff where they talk about certain areas of headquarters, but they scratch them out in the boxes so you can't see what they are. And it's not even just blacked out with a black line. It's actually scribbled out so you can't see them. So it's got this little mystery to what's going on. As far as the art goes, it's typical standard today Marvel art, where there's really nothing special about it really. I kind of wish they went with the like a manga artist or something like that, or somebody with a little more Eastern influence. But so far, it's it's okay. I mean, considering what Marvel puts out nowadays, I mean, I'll take it. I'll take Ultraman. Why not?
So it seems like the weakest part of it was the artwork.
Yeah, I mean, the story was entertaining enough. I mean, it's set up. I mean, first issues are always set up and stuff like that, unless you're dealing with an established character, like, you know. But I mean, this is like, I mean, I don't know how many people. I don't know if you're very familiar with Ultraman. I mean,
Brief, not much, you know, minor stuff here and there and whatnot.
yeah, it's pretty standard, I mean, as far as that kind of thing goes. But I mean, other than that, the art doesn't wow me at all. But that doesn't surprise me at all. Marvel's kind of been cheaping out on the artists lately.
Yeah, I mean, they have like a revolving door of artists on their books. Like, you know, you'll have all these great artists on a book, and then they'll take a break for a while and whatnot, and
yeah,
you know, which is a problem, especially with the, you know, a book I'm about to review. You know.
Oh, one thing I want to add, there were, I don't know if this is just because it's a giant-sized first issue. There were a couple of cool things in there. There was this one thing called Kaiju Steps, which is like a little comic strip, basically, which was drawn in very like Calvin and Hobbes type comic strip style. Yeah. And then there's Ultra Q, which is kind of like these old like 50s type noir type, like, you know, almost like X-Files like type stories, but involving Ultraman with the Science Division. Those are kind of cool. But I mean, again, like the art, I mean, they have some cool covers with Ed McGuinness and Art Adams and stuff like that. But I mean, other than that, that's Ultraman, right? That's the rise of Ultraman. We're rising. Who's that, Patrick? You got texting back in?
No, I completely forgot who did the artwork for Amazing Spider-Man with Spencer.
What? You don't know who did the
I know. I forgot his name. He was the Invincible guy.
Oh, he did the art on this one.
No, he didn't. What's his name again? I fucking completely, because he's not on that much.
Well, Ryan Otley does the
Thank you.
art, but I can't believe you don't know who the cover to the.
No, this one I knew, because the main reason why I picked it.
Oh, okay.
I was leading into it. I'm like, the fuck was the artist on there originally?
Well, without further ado, let's jump right into Amazing Spider-Man 48.
Yes. So, as you know, there's been a revolving team of artists on the books, so that wow, brain fart. What's his face can fucking get caught up.
Ryan Otley and Patrick Gleason came in for a few minutes and then was gone.
Yeah, basically a few minutes is what it is. It's like, why I keep forgetting Otley's name is because I don't remember the last time he was on this book.
A lot of covers.
He covers, yes, but again, he's kind of like he's being dragged out to like this next story that's gonna come up after this. Kind of like, wow. I'm just having like the biggest brain fart right now.
You know, it's not surprising because
Kindred, you know.
Yeah.
Again, so they've been dragging that out, just like they're dragging out to get, Otley back on the book. But without further ado, let me get into it. So this book is by Amazing Spider-Man 48/849, legacy number, which is what they should just fucking stay with, pardon my language. So this is, I believe, part 4 of Sin Rising. If just a real quick recap, Sin Eater is back alive again.
You had it right the first time, recap.
Yeah. he's alive again. He was brought back during the second Clone Saga, I believe.
Clone Conspiracy, yeah.
Conspiracy, yeah. And so instead of, third Clone Saga, I should say, he is not killing his victims anymore. He's cleansing them of their sins and reforming them. And Spider-Man sees this happening, but he's not too cool with that, because what's going to happen after they feel cleansed? He feels like there's like a hidden agenda here or whatnot, or something worse is going to happen. And
like an ongoing purge maybe showing up.
Basically, yeah.
As a result of that.
So now this issue is him dealing with his own guilt on whether or not he should save Norman Osborn, of which Norman Osborn is now the head of Ravencroft.
Why not?
And I think I missed an issue where something happened where he's all of a sudden became normal again. Normal for Norman Osborn. Not like I am Cletus Cassidy Carnage Norman Osborn, but real old school Norman Osborn. I don't know if he knows who Peter is anymore, because he did at the end of that storyline and then he forgot.
The Red Goblin one?
Yep. And then I'm just having the worst time today, my God. And then, so what happens in this issue is all the web warriors, I like to call them now. Miles Morales, Julie Carpenter, the new Madam Web, Silk, Spider-Gwen, who,
and Jessica Drew for some reason.
Yeah. who she was a part of the original Spider-Verse, and she wasn't really part of any of the sequels that I remember. But so they just kind of threw her in. They're basically all trying to convince him to let the Sin Eater cleanse Norman Osborn, because you know that if you don't stop him, he's gonna keep killing it. He will kill again. And there was one moment in it that Miles going back on Miles, remembering that he's from another Earth. He doesn't know that his ultimate.
Oh yeah, I did remember reading that, and I'm like, I thought he didn't remember. Now he does. It's oh my god.
You can blame Bendis for that. Marvel and Bendis. I think Spencer's like, fuck it, I'm just gonna do whatever I want with my book, and apologies later. But it just seems like everyone else can write Miles Morales better than Bendis can. It goes back from Bendis' book for him remembering that he's from 6160 or the Ultimate Universe. Or he doesn't remember, and he couldn't get that right in his own Spider-Man 2 book. But that's another story for another day. So basically, this issue ends with Peter going on to save Norman Osborn, and now the Web Warriors, as I like to call them, because that's basically what they are. And that's not a degrading today, the characters, but they're the Web Warriors.
That was a book called Web Warriors.
Yeah, that are basically going to say, well, we need to fucking beat up Peter Parker and stop him from saving Norman Osborn.
I did read this book, and I gotta say, this story. When I was reading this issue, I actually stopped for a second in the middle of it and checked Instagram, just out of boredom. I'm like, this story is dragging on. It's like I do not give a shit about this story at all.
Yeah, I mean, it's supposed to play into the next big story arc with Kindred, that they're finally gonna finish that damn storyline, and
they won't. They
probably
won't.
not. But my guess is that he is Peter Parker in the Doc Ock decaying body that died back in Amazing 800 or whatever it was. That's my guess, because he can control tentacles, which are like, centipedes, whatever the fuck they are.
I'm hearing it's either it's Gwen Stacy. I hope it's not. I don't know. It's just like who cares? I've made no secret now that my investment in Peter Parker is gone after one more day. And I actually did like Brand New Day a little bit. That's the last one I was really excited about Spider-Man. Even then, I was like forcing myself to kind of ignore like what happened one more day. We'll put a pin in that right now. Patrick is here right now. Let's admit. It's the sideways universe.
He's upside down now.
I'm getting vertigo. Hey Patrick, what's going on?
Not much. How we doing?
Pretty good. We're talking about Amazing Spider-Man number 48 right now. Mike just explained the issue, and I'm giving my critique on it. Mike, I'm sure Mike loved the art. I'm kind of giving my.
It was definitely not his best Mark Bagley artwork.
He's getting old.
Yes, and I'd rather see him. I mean, yes, he can draw stuff older than this Spider-Man. It doesn't seem like Marvel wants him to.
Yeah.
But considering, and again, I don't want to bash the artwork that's not, Otley or Gleason and whatnot, because that artwork's been pretty good. But for me, it kind of takes you away when you get really great artwork to good artwork to subpar artwork back to good.
For me, yeah.
If this is the way to get these artists to be up and coming books to get more popular, so be it. But Otley, I don't see what's stopping him from doing 3 books a month, and then Gleason takes over.
I can imagine it's his page rate. I can also imagine it's Marvel not wanting to create a superstar artist that they do, and I can also think that Ryan Otley maybe doesn't want to be on Spider-Man anymore, because every day all he does is talk about Invincible. I think he just wishes he was still drawing Invincible.
Yeah.
And
why can't we get maybe Mark Bagley can do 3 issues? And then we can do my man crush Todd Knock that I ruined any type of him getting him on this book podcast to interview on the book.
Well, Bagley to me fits this title perfectly, because he's a perfectly vanilla artist for a perfectly vanilla book right now. I could not be any more fucking bored with this. I remember when Spencer first came on, I was so excited. And I realize now it's because it wasn't Dan Slott.
Yeah.
And he was doing some deep cut callbacks like Tri-Sentinel and these things. But this book, I haven't been this less interested in Spider-Man since Howard Mackie and John Byrne were on the book.
Well, it's because this whole storyline has been drawn out, and not all of it is 100% his fault, because then you had that, Maximum Carnage or whatever the hell.
Yeah, I mean, he was kind of thrown to those.
Yeah,
but,
that was tied into it.
But also,
and that was a great storyline. I know Patrick's shaking his head over there, but that was a great storyline that could have been self-contained in Venom and and whatnot.
Well, also I think with Green Goblin, with Norman Osborn too, it's like, what are you doing? Like, first he's dead, then he's not dead, but then he's dead again. Oh, now he's in charge of the Daily Bugle. He owns that, and now he's a businessman again, and now he's the Red Goblin, and now maybe he looks like Abraham from The Walking Dead now, and now he's crazy again. But now he's in jail. Now he's in charge of Shield, and now he's not in charge of Shield. He's crazy again. But we decided he's not crazy. We're supposed to put him in charge of the Ravencroft Institute. And it's like, this is all in the span of like 10 years in comics, which, it's like, what are you doing?
I mean,
like,
my favorite era of the Norman Osborn versus Spider-Man versus Peter Parker dance was the post-Clone Saga.
I love that too. But even I'll admit that at the same time they were doing that, Lex Luthor also owned the Daily Planet in the Superman comics. And
I kind of feel like I think Harry Osborn should be the new head honcho and kill Norman off, whatever, keep him dead, and make Harry be that.
I say you just you age up Normie a little bit, and you make him in charge of Osborn Industries. Kind of do a little Zuckerberg character with him, or even better yet, I really liked when Liz Allen was in charge of Oscorp during the late '90s, early 2000s. But that's kind of my gripe.
Now she's in charge of Alchemax, so.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, Spider-Man, I love Spider-Man. He's my favorite Marvel character, but I think maybe it's time to either wrap this Kindred thing up and let's, move on. Maybe get another writer. I don't know. But, yeah. So, I mean, I'll buy $8.50 for another Green Goblin storyline and, Yeah.
Well, it took forever to get rid of Dan Slott.
Yeah, but I don't know.
What
that's
they need
for another day.
And he's been limping on ever since, Dan Slott. You know what I mean? I think you got the same problem pulling him off Fantastic Four as you did with Spider-Man. I think.
Like he was never good on Fantastic Four.
No,
I can't wait for him to be gone.
Yeah, there's so many other writers who be writing Fantastic Four.
His Iron Man work I heard is great, and I kind of liked his Iron Man 2020 stuff. Wasn't too bad.
I personally liked his Iron Man. I know a lot of people didn't like it. But I mean, I don't know. I'm not a big Iron Man guy anyway, so I'm not really invested in anything with people like that's not how Iron Man should be. I'm like, I don't really know or care that much, so it's fine with me. I love his Silver Surfer he did with Mike Allred was probably one of my favorite comics in 10 years. I love that comic so much. But yeah, so yeah, that's Amazing Spider-Man 48. Patrick, you want to jump right into Nightwing, or do you want to?
Oh, sure. I would love to.
All right, let's get to it.
The only book I'm reviewing. Nightwing issue 74, Collateral Damage, part of the Joker War. Written by Dan Jurgens and art by Ryan Benjamin. It's actually not bad artist. Yeah.
I never heard of this guy.
Pretty decent on it. The last book the last issue of Nightwing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Actually, what I like about this book is that Dick Grayson, not Rick. Dick Grayson is back by the end
Finally.
of the book. Yeah, okay.
Run out.
Oh my God, it's like watching a movie that just never ends. You know, like when you pay for a movie, you sit at a theater and 20 minutes in, it sucks, but you got 2 more hours to watch this. Yes, that's how you feel with this storyline.
I feel like Nightwing, Dick Grayson hasn't been the character that I love since before New 52.
Well, but to be fair, Dan Jurgens, he has written some really good stories, but the problem is Dan DiDio saddled him with the Rick Grayson storyline. I mean, that is the problem. I mean, this is character that Rick had a new girlfriend called B, and it's not the author. I mean, it's like one of the most useless characters ever.
Come here, Gooch.
That storyline, the whole thing with him, amnesia, and all that should have lasted maybe a few issues, but not as long as. And as soon as he realized he could do superhero stuff, I mean, that should be the end of the storyline right there. And like,
No kidding.
And also, he knew right off the bat that he was like the ward of this like trillionaire in Gotham. But instead, he's got, I'm gonna be my own man. It's like, if that happened to you, like, well, I think I'm gonna see what's going on with this whole like trillionaire ward thing first.
Yeah.
You know?
No shit. And here's another thing. Like Bruce Wayne's adopted kid. He goes to the Wayne Manor. How come there's no friggin' pictures?
Because he can't show. Because he can't show love. This is back during Tom King's run where he was just emo Batman.
No pictures. You think Alfred never put anything up there? This is before Alfred died, by the way. Yeah, but anyway, I'm just happy.
So what you're saying is you wish there were more dick pics in Wayne Manor.
That's right.
Okay, all right.
What's wrong with that?
He loves the dick pics.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Grayson pics.
Yeah, but anyway, despite me complaining, it is a really good issue. The best part is you see Dick Grayson come back, but before then, he takes on Damian and Tim Drake. And
who's back as
really
Robin, thank God.
Huh?
He's back as Robin, and out of that shitty outfit he had on. And
oh, yeah. Oh, my God. I thought he was the Red Hood for a while. That's how, oh, my God.
Is he still the Joker's Robin right now? Or
no,
I haven't been reading the comic at all, so.
Yeah, at the end of the issue, of course, Rick Grayson's girlfriend, breaks the spell. Here's the thing. It's that stupid crystal that supposedly made Rick have these new memories. What is that thing? A magic crystal?
I haven't read the book. I have no idea.
Yeah.
There was a crystal.
That's it. If you read the book, I read the book. I have the issues. I have no idea what that is.
It sounds like something I don't want to get. I'll wait till the next writer comes on, the next reboot of Nightwing before I start reading Nightwing again.
Here's the best part of the book. One, Dick Grayson's back at the end, and that ridiculous character, his girlfriend V, is running away, because she's heartbroken that, her relationship's all over and everything. And it's like, I'm like, just keep going. Don't stop. And
what a dick.
Huh?
What a dick.
Yeah.
Who, Patrick or Dick?
Rick. Rick.
But actually, if you're overall, the Joker's War is turned out to be a pretty good story.
It has, despite the stupid name, despite the oversaturation of Joker, they're really getting a lot of meat out of it. I think
And this is one of the books that for Italian you kind of really need to read it.
Yeah.
Oh,
so, otherwise, if you're just getting Batman or Detective, you'll be like, okay, what happened here? I assume that's going to be.
But at least they're keeping it within the Batman titles and not like we have this big main series and then a bunch of offshoot series and stuff like that. It's just like I that's how I like crossovers. Like if it's like a Batman storyline or a Fantastic Four storyline, keep it inside the books.
In other words, he shouldn't be showing up in Aquaman, right?
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, did Aquaman get canceled again? Oh man.
I think when all is said and done, you're going to see about maybe 10 titles from DC, if that. And only 3 of them will be in continuity.
Marvel adds 10 more X-Men books to the bunch.
What else is new?
Yeah, but anyway, I still give the issue a thumbs up, despite the fact how much I just crapped over the book, because the ending was worth it.
It's like a battered wife when it comes to this book. It's like, I'm sticking with you no matter what. I'm invested now.
True.
So I will say this, guys. I forgot to do this on our Tuesday episode, but happy birthday, Ken Bonin.
Oh,
okay.
I actually, if you go on our, well, it's not up anymore, but if you go on the Two Over Comics Instagram page, I actually, I screen capped that and put it up there for our adoring fans.
I didn't forget about you, Ken. me and Steve just had to get that last episode up real quick, and we had a lot to do that day, so we
blasted out that day, yeah.
So happy birthday, Ken Bonin, and here's your call out.
So anyway, so that's Nightwing number 48. Is that what it was?
No, 74.
74. That's right. Oh yeah, Spider-Man was 48. For the next comic I'm going to do, we're going to stay inside that DC pool, and I know you guys are going to roll your eyes, and I know you're going to say, Steve, well, what are you doing? My book was Superman number 25.
Holy shit!
Written by Brian Michael Bendis and Ivan Reis. I haven't. I'll say something right now. I haven't been paying attention to Superman really at all. After like the first 3 issues of Bendis' run, I think the stories are just horrible and it's just It's like bad Bendis, pretty much.
When's the last time was there a good Bendis?
The only reason that's another discussion. But this one, I only checked this out because our local retailer Larry actually was posting something about this book saying it was a key issue. But he doesn't really go too much into it, so I checked it out myself. It's a double-sized anniversary issue because apparently now, 2 years of a book is an anniversary.
Been on that for 2 years.
Yeah. So anyway, they introduce. Can I get right into it? It's called Mythological Part 1, where they introduce these. What are you guys called? The Sinmar, which are like these race who kind of they're obviously like this old ancient kind of race. And they start out the book watching Krypton blow up, and you kind of think oh, it's Rag al Zar all over again, but it's not. They just kind of observe it, and they're and one of the guys is kind of hey, what do we do about this? And they're like, don't worry about it. This is what's supposed to happen. Just planets blow up. No use crying over spilt milk. And so he's like, okay, all right, whatever. And so but they see that there's a rocket ship and it went to Earth. And so they kind of know that there's a Kryptonian going to Earth. So they kind of keep tabs on him throughout him growing up. And so there's this one guy called Enzo Alcor, who's kind of he's really concerned about what's going on with Superman. They're like, listen, this guy's probably one of the most powerful beings in the universe, especially of soaking up for years and years of this yellow sun. He could be really in trouble if he decides to go off the grid. And so they're like, don't worry, we'll keep an eye on him. And so they're watching him throughout the years. And they check in on him when he's leaving Smallville and going to Metropolis. And so what is he doing? Is he ruling the planet? And you're like, no, he's a hero. He just defends it. And he's like, oh, holy shit. We should have something like that. And so they're kind of oh, well, isn't that nice? A Superman. And so they're going about their business. They show some things happening throughout Superman throughout the years. They show him fighting Lex Luthor in his green, in yellow purple suit. They show some New 52 stuff where Lana Lang has the Superman powers. And they're also talking about John, where she comes to visit and asks about his son Jonathan, and they go about what's going on in the books. I'm doing a lot of recap for someone like me who hasn't really been paying attention to Superman for a while. So anyway, we cut back to the I keep on forgetting their names. I'm gonna call them the Sendmen. So they go back there and they have this thing called the Sinmar Utopica, which is basically this they're starting this Peace Corps pretty much, which is gonna help defend parts of the universe and basically be their Superman, and so what happens is something happens where it ends up blowing up, and that person who's in charge gets killed, and that guy Enzo Alcar, he finds that the whole place blown up and is who did this, and all signs kind of point to Superman. So he was supposed to be the Superman for their race, and so he thinks Superman, this whole thing they were starting, which was going to be this big peacekeeping initiative within their race, he thinks was destroyed by Superman. So it's all his fears of what he thought Superman would do, in his mind, that's what's happening right now, where he thinks Superman went off the reservation and he kind of attacked them. They don't really go into how he gets to that point really that much. The guys kind of have, but I mean it's only part 1. But I mean, as far as this book goes, I mean, Bendis has been doing these kind of storylines more than things like the Red Smog or whatever the fuck it was. I'd be more invested because these are they feel a little more Silver Age type storylines. But I mean, this is only one issue in, but it's more the space stuff, which I love in Superman, more alien fights and that kind of sci-fi, wonky sci-fi, which I love, So I mean, I think I'm gonna check out. I think I'm gonna check out the next issue 26. I don't know if I'm fully on board with Superman right now. Superman is one of my favorite DC characters, but I think I'll give it the benefit of the doubt. As far as the writing goes, you have Bendis speak obviously when it comes to him and Lana talking. But I mean, as far as like when he handles the aliens, it's very like you almost think you're reading like a Grant Morrison book, like some of the names and like and the way he talks, like the jargon they use and stuff. It's pretty interesting, and you know what? If Bendis learned his lesson from everybody saying like from all the critique he's been getting, and he's like, okay, well maybe I'll change course if that's what we're getting as a result of this. Hey, that's cool. I mean, like I'll take. There is Bendis books I've enjoyed in the past, like when I was younger.
I don't think he's learned his lesson.
I don't think he has either, but I mean, you know what?
I agree with you, Mike.
He may see the writing on the wall. He may see like with the whole thing happening with DC, where like a lot of contracts up in the air, and people thinking like, hey, if you're not like like moving the needle, then we're just gonna like let you go. And I think
nice.
Bendis.
I don't think they'll get rid of Bendis. His name's for some reason still too big, and he still has quite the following.
All he has is Superman right now, though. All his other books are canceled besides Legion. Yeah. So I mean, he might see his back against the wall and say, hey, you know what? I'll throw a bone to the fans then. If this is what they want, we'll go more crazy sci-fi stuff like that. I mean, I don't know. I may be like jumping to conclusions here, but anyway, I enjoyed the issues though. And
okay.
Ivan Reis, who I think is a very kind of like he I like how he draws. I love this run on Aquaman with Jeff Johns. He's very Brian Hitch. He has like that kind of like flair to him. But he's pretty good though on this. I really liked it a lot. And I'll tell you something right now. Whatever DC's been doing with the colorists lately is amazing. The coloring on this is I think it's Alex Sinclair, who I've heard his name before, but between this and the last issue of Batman, holy shit, is the coloring great in these DC books. They are beautiful. Yeah. So yeah, I mean I'm gonna give this book 2 thumbs up. Right. I really enjoyed it, and it might be my time. I'm not gonna go back and check the long boxes as far as the Bendis Superman run goes.
Don't. I wish you need toilet paper.
But I think I might check this out. I may give it a try.
I tried reading the Action Comics issue with Connor Kent in it because I'm a big fan of Connor Kent.
Yep.
And I completely hated the fact that he was missing since pre-52 and all that stuff. And that book was completely unreadable. The artwork was horrendous. I mean, Romita Jr. was a great artist in his own right back in the day, but I think if he's not getting that big fat paycheck from his independent stuff, he just mails it in.
Yeah, and he's admitted that too. He says he calls his style the Deadline style.
Yeah, it shows.
Yeah.
I don't think he's a great artist anymore. I don't think unless he's, like I said, he's getting that big fat paycheck, you're not going to see his kick-ass stuff. Days of the JMS Spider-Man when he was really great on that.
I think he does really good when he has time because he did a Batman storyline with Scott Snyder that was probably one of the most beautiful Batman books I've seen. If he has the right inker and he has enough time to get the work, then he gives the goods.
Okay, I have a question, Steve. Yep. You just said if John Romita Jr., if he has the right inker.
Yep.
My opinion, when I go through his early Marvel work, he looked fantastic when he had veteran inker inking his work.
Al Milgram.
Yep.
What was that? Although
all veteran Frankie Osa, I probably butchered his name. All veteran inkers. I think even Joe Sinot even inked them a few times.
Say what you want about Superman Year One that came out recently. That book is beautiful. Danny Miki inks. And it looks great. It looks phenomenal. I mean, he still can't draw kids, but I mean, some people just can't draw. Some people can't draw feet. Some people can't draw kids. I mean, that book's a good looking book.
I only saw one issue of that, and it was pretty great.
It's good looking.
Yeah.
Danny Miki is an excellent inker.
Yeah.
I followed him since when he worked with David Finch on Moon Knight. Yes. Great work.
Yep. He was the go-to inker after Quesada and Palamani kind of broke up a little bit. And then he took over. And he's I mean, you get the right inker. Same thing with Joe Madureira. Joe Madureira is a great artist. His pencils are tight, but sometimes inkers can ruin his work. But when Tim Townsend inks him, holy cow, does it look good. Inkers very they're the rhythm section of the comic book art world. I think you can't underrate a good rhythm section. You can't and you can't like take advantage of a good inker because I mean they make all the difference.
They do.
So, but yeah, that's my review of Superman 25. Mike, you got one more book, right?
I got I came prepared too, Patrick.
Oh.
I have Ninja Turtles from IDW 109. Talk about a book that's been amazing since issue 1.
Oh yeah.
I don't think I ever read a bad turtle book issue, I should say, a single issue. Sure, not every issue has been, A+, or, but every issue has been great. I've never had a complaint about any issue. I mean, sometimes the artwork's been a little on some of the issues, a little rushed or weak, but other than that, talk about a book that's been consistently good, where even when you're in the middle of a story arc, you're still getting a full story. Something that's lost in today's comics.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Very much.
I've been kind of waiting to review Turtles because it's when we started doing our reviews, we were kind of in the middle of the current storyline, so I didn't want to just start full blast on issue 2 or part 2, whatever. But this is kind of like a standalone issue. The Turtles are still kind of rebuilding their lives from the death of the Splinter, their father. And now they're also kind of rebuilding their lives in Mutant Town, where previous issues where Hob released Mutant Bomb, where the residents of that part of the New York City were all turned into mutants.
Yeah, it's like the annex, like little part of like New York, like that, where all the mutants live, and it's like closed off from the government, closed off from like all the federal funding, that kind of thing.
And I think this is actually a really great idea that they've done this. So now, correct me if I'm wrong, Steve, because I haven't read a lot of the older issues of Turtles books. That the Turtles never really had a life with relationships before this.
Well, they do this kind of when Peter Laird and I can't think of the artist's name, but anyway, in the early 2000s they rebooted the book with and it's still actually Peter Laird still has the rights to make the comic, but anyway, they kind of did where it was 18 years in the future, so the Turtles were like in their 30s pretty much. And at that point, the ULTRAMANs had basically invaded Earth and they kind of made like mutants and aliens commonplace within like society. That's the only kind of time they've really done something like that.
So for me, I think this is really great because I never read that book, issue that comic book. So it's nice to see them never have relationships. You're seeing Raph and Apex or Elpolex, I probably butchered that name. Donnie and Mona Lisa seem to be starting a new relationship. Jenna has a girlfriend now, the new female turtle.
That pig, whatever it is. I don't know what she is.
I forget her name, but yeah. She wants to start a band, because she used to play guitar when she was human before she joined the Foot. Mikey wants to start like a podcast, kind of like us, to kind of like, because he's seen all these news stations on the news saying, the mutant in town is, bad, blah, blah, blah. And he wants them to know the real stories of what's going on. There are still real people or real beings, feelings and whatnot. So he wants to start something like that.
Because this issue where a reporter comes in and kind of tries to get an interview, but it's just like a petting zoo to her, pretty much. Like, where she doesn't even ask their names or anything like that, just kind of like wondering, like, what's your biology, pretty much, like that kind of thing, and not even asking their names.
And how do turtles have sex? And there's the little baby turtle, your kid, and Mikey's like, fuck this noise, I'm done.
Yeah.
So Donnie's kind of like the new handyman of Mutant Town. He goes back and forth and fixes things, kind of like, going back to his scientific roots. Donnie and Raph start a dojo. So this book has been really great. And like I said, they're still rebuilding their lives after what happened with the fall of the Foot, or the, Shredder being a good guy now, which I call it. I knew he was going to be a good guy now. And
I haven't seen Shredder. They don't really say what Shredder's status is right now.
Yeah, so I don't think we're going to see much of him until later on. I think they're going to focus now on Mutant Town, and there's like a new enemy who's like a squid guy type of guy.
Yeah.
Shows up
looks like Davy Jones from the Pirates of the Caribbean movies.
Yeah. But I absolutely love this book.
Me too.
It's literally my favorite book.
I have a silly question. Do you remember a few months ago there was talk that the Turtles book was canceled during COVID?
Yeah.
So is this a one-off or is
No,
this
this
a
is
continuation?
This is ongoing. It's still ongoing. I don't think it's
Okay.
canceled or is going to be canceled.
All right, because to be honest, a lot of people were confused about this a couple months ago.
I think that's when a lot of publishers were putting their books on hold, and they said they're on it because no one knew what was going to happen at that point. So they're kind of like it's on indefinite hiatus, so the people kind of assumed it was canceled.
Because Sophie Campbell went on Twitter and saying this is going to be my last issue for a while, and it turns out it actually wasn't because our next issue literally came out the next month.
Yeah.
And
but wasn't that already in the can? Like it was already.
I don't know. Good? I think because of all of the turmoil that's going on with IDW, that a lot of the books are going to be canceled, and it seems like that's the furthest from the truth. I mean, Transformers is still going strong.
I think there's a lot of misinformation. People say like the whole pencils up or whatever, pencils down, and then like you hear that in the news, but then when you hear actual creators talk about it, they're like, no, we haven't stopped making stuff. Like we're still drawing stuff, we're still writing stuff. Like so I mean, like I think there's a lot of misinformation when this whole thing went down.
I mean, I don't think IDW is going to go away completely. I think they're going to probably sell off all their subsidiaries, whatever it's called, and all their other type of stuff, so they can kind of just focus on the main comic book line.
If anything, with IDW, you'll see them go digital with their books if they can't afford to print books. I don't see the Turtles going anywhere anytime soon. It's probably their most successful book, that and Power Rangers.
And it like that's literally the best book out there. Oh, Power Rangers, boom.
Boom. Well, that's what I meant. Like as far as like those
are some of the best books out there.
Transformers is really good too. Yeah, I mean they have a lot. They have G.I. Joe, Transformers. I think they have Micronauts.
They have
all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, you name it. Like all the IPs, and I for me, Turtles will always be my first love of a Power Rangers. So it is my #1 book. And the other reason why for me the Power Rangers after the Shattered Grid storyline, there was a bunch of random Power Rangers lost in space, which that was for the Power Rangers I didn't care about, so I kind of stopped reading during that until it went back to the Power Rangers that I love. But oh my God, talk about. I have no complaints against the Turtles book whatsoever.
As far as this issue goes, I first of all, I love Sophie Campbell. It's a nice change of pace. As much as I enjoyed the series before with Tom Waltz writing it, I really enjoy Sophie Campbell's take with kind of just like, not so much making like the high action ninja stories, like where it's like right now she's kind of establishing like, like the Turtles, like saying, you know what, like society's given up on us, but we're allowed out in the open right now, so I guess we're just going to like build the society for ourselves. But they're building a school and stuff like that. And yeah, it's a Turtles book. I've as a kid I would have loved. I love this book. I love how everything like as far as like the Turtles go, a lot of them are like peaceful resolutions rather than like a big drag out fight or like these like grudges like carrying on and on and on. That's really done well. It's really like positive for like kids reading the book. The only thing I will complain about the book, my one gripe is it's kind of like I wouldn't mind some action or like some like because right now it's kind of almost turning into like a furry book right now where it's just like I recently I watched I think it was All-Star or Beastars on Netflix, which was basically just like this like high school drama but had like animals pretty much. It's almost kind of turning into Zootopia a little bit, but there's no action happening.
I mean, the last few issues there were some, fight scenes and action scenes of like that squid type character that was kind of taking all the kids.
Yeah.
So I think she's trying to do a balance of the Turtles rebuilding their lives from, someone who's lost their father. It does take you a while to kind of rebuild your life back up.
Yeah.
And, she definitely has a love for the characters. She grew up.
Oh, absolutely. I trust her as far as
artist for a while. She did something with the book prior to this, right?
She was an artist. Yep, she did the Northampton storyline. She also did Gem and the Holograms comic for IDW.
I remember that.
Yeah, so she. I mean, and honestly, I've listened to podcasts with her. She's been like she's OG, like back like the old role playing game, like the old like Mirror Studio role playing Ninja Turtles game. And she knows deep cuts when it comes to Turtles. So she's definitely been a fan all her life. So I trust her with the book. It's like,
Eastman's kind of just in the background of like the plotting and whatnot. I think he's just kind of like, not really the plotting. She'll go like, I want to do like this. And he's like, okay, I like that. That's kind of what I
think just his name on the book adds integrity to the book as far as fans go, pretty much.
Maybe he just gets there. Yeah. But,
so yeah, I mean, what do you
if I could give 4 thumbs up, I would. That's how great this book is.
I give it 6 fingers
I will say I like the current art style with I'm gonna butcher this name, but Jody Nishijima.
Yeah, I did like that versus the last couple issues. I do want Campbell to come back on and draw though, because I like her when she's writing and drawing. She has a really cool.
So I guess my only complaint is that some of the artwork was kind of weaker than the other, kind of like how amazing the Marvel books are doing. Some of it might have seemed rushed at times, but my God, this book has been great since issue 1, and I have every issue up till 109 so far. So that the only thing that I'll hate about going digital is the fact that this will be digital one day, and I'll never have a complete run of this Turtles book. But my God, fucking awesome.
Well, you give them the background. IDW's got these sweet hardcover releases of the book. I have the first 5 volumes of it on my shelf right now, which are awesome. They're really good quality and great format. IDW has always been good at releasing stuff. As far as the artist editions and all that kind of stuff goes.
Those are classic. I love just looking at those things.
Oh, yeah.
They're worth every penny.
Yeah.
So I think that's all we got for reviews. You guys got any honorable mentions as far as comics go that we didn't cover? Or?
I've only had a chance to read those 2 books so far, so I got nothing else.
What are you, Patrick? Anything good?
No. Be honest, it was a short week.
Yeah, it was. I read a couple other books. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, it's just Marvel. The Empire storyline is done. Thank God. That was a piece of boring crap.
Empire ended, and the universe didn't even blink, as Dr. Manhattan would say.
No one cared.
It was just talking in space, basically, as our good friend Larry said. But
talk, yeah.
Yeah. As far as Marvel, then I read Martyrs #12. I'm always a big fan of that book, but the Pirate X-Men book. I actually discovered a book that I haven't. 2 books actually. Was Green Hornet that Scott Lobdell is doing through Dynamite right now. It's on issue 2. It's a pretty good book. I like the style. I wish there was some color in it, but I do like the art style in it, where it's a little like pulpy. It's pretty good. And I also I don't know if it's finished yet. It might be for DC Black Label. Jeff Lemire has been doing a question series for DC Black Label.
I think it's still in the middle or something.
Maybe,
I don't know if it got delayed because I haven't seen the new issue on the stand in a while.
I think it was during that week DC Fandom came out. They had issue 4. So I don't know what issue it was, but a new issue came out that week. Yeah. But it's pretty good. I like the Bill Sienkiewicz, I think, doing the inks. It kind of gives it an old 80s 80s to early 90s feel to it. I really like it a lot. I love the question. So that's pretty much all. Green Lantern Volume 2 number 7 the latest issue came out. They kind of follow up on that whole Hal Jordan being the Death Lantern thing, which this book is wacky.
Wasn't he Spectre back in the 2000s?
He was, and then the last panel of the issue before this current issue, they show him, and that's what I assume they are doing. But apparently, the Guardians wanted him to judge them, and they wanted to be a Death Lantern. This book is really crazy. It's Morrison at his no one fucking edits me, and so we'll see what happens at the end of this. It'll be definitely fun to read in the collection.
I actually want to give a shout out to a book. Mike, you still reading the Flash book?
No, I think I was just at one time. I haven't had a chance to catch up on it.
Okay, the latest issue came out. I think it's 761. That's a lot of fun. All the Flashes are there. Every one of them. Impulse, Mercury, and for a Flash fan, I think you will enjoy that one.
They kind of wrap. As far as Rebirth titles, that's pretty much the last Rebirth title, pretty much, as far as writers who started during Rebirth and are ending. And I think he's kind of wrapping up a lot of those threads.
But what I liked about it, you can tell Dan Didio's not in the house anymore because Wally West is back.
That's another book.
That's
another book. The colors are amazing in that book too.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, Wally West is back as Wally West. None of this Heroes in Crisis bullshit. It's just, I don't know, the whole thing, Dan Didio never likes, sidekicks.
Oh,
you know what? Huh?
It shows.
Oh yeah, but
Really
you get
started on Tim Drake and Superboy.
yeah. He
We
hated
don't
Dick
have time
Grayson.
to go on to that rant.
Yeah, we don't have time for that. We are running out of time right now, so I'm going to wrap this up because Flash is the latest issue is actually a book I wanted to talk about. But again, like that, maybe we can talk about it next week.
Yeah,
Because
definitely.
actually, the whole Flash run as a whole, I don't like to talk about. But that's going to do it for this week for our comic book review show. Remember, if you guys are enjoying our content, there's tons of videos on the channel to check out. And remember to give it a thumbs up and don't hit it. Smash Apollo Creed that or Mike Tyson's Punch Out. Well, and subscribe to us for more content. And thanks guys for watching, and we'll see you next time. I have a title for I actually have a name for this review show we're going to do.
In a minute, you got to get it out.
Oh, we don't
What
have
is
time.
it?
You know what? We'll do it next time. I don't have time right now. So we'll see you guys next time, and we'll give you the title next time for sure.
All right.
Bye.
All right. Bye.